Chain Slave is an anime airing on High Dive right now, and this show is wild. It's hilarious. It's got a ton of fan service, which I'm usually not big on, but for some reason this show just works for me. It is definitely not a show that works for everyone. If you like High School DxD, I'd say it's in that vein. The premise is that there's this other dimension that kind of bleeds into Earth called Mato. And in this dimension are these monsters called Shuki, which is what's on the screen right now. And for whatever reason, if you eat a Mato peach, it gives human girls and women superpowers of some kind. So society has sent a bunch of young girls and women to set up bases and kill off the Shuki and deal with any leaks whenever it comes over into our dimension so that the Shuki can't run wild on Earth. The boy is Yuki and the girl is Kyoka, and she's the commander of one of these bases. There's 10 bases in Mato. The basic premise is that Yuki gets sucked into one of these Mato events. You can see Kyoka here is rescuing a little girl, and she's riding a Shuki with chains on it. Her ability that she got from the Mato Peaches is that she can control or enslave one Shuki at a time, and it really benefits her depending on how powerful they are. She sets up a barrier to give them temporary protection. The rest of her unit can't help her right away. She asks Yuki in a desperate move, would he want to be a slave if it'll save them? But it's a permanent thing, she can't undo it. He accepts because his sister died in one of these events, and you find out pretty early on that her whole family and town was wiped out during one of these events, and that's why she's part of this unit, and that's why he ends up accepting this offer here. So you can see here he's transformed, and he's now a Shuki that she can ride on and use and control. So that's the basic premise. The other part of this premise is that he can only last so long in that form, and when he transforms back to human, he's owed a reward from whoever enslaved him, which obviously is her. And it's something that she has no control over. It's based on his inner desires, and her body will just move itself until the reward is complete. So the more work that he does, the more of a reward that he gets. So you can see where the fan service comes in. This is 3/4 of the way through episode 1. And it just gets more and more ridiculous as the show goes on. And obviously being a 16-year-old boy, all of his repressed desires when he's surrounded by attractive girls, because it's anime, are sexual in nature. And she's kind of bitching here that when she controlled the Shuki, all they wanted was pork. So she would just go make them dinner, essentially. But now, because he's an actual human, the rewards are a lot more intensive. This is from episode 4, so I guess a minor spoiler. But I actually watched the first couple episodes and then binged the whole manga because I just thought it was so funny. It's got a lot of action, but it's obviously not very serious at all. And it's funny because one of the complaints is that the anime has cut out and toned down some of the fan service, even though it still shows like nudity and stuff. But later on in the show, they want to be able to upgrade Yuki's abilities and upgrade the other girls' abilities. So Kyoka tries this thing called lending, where she lets someone else use Yuki as a slave, and he gets different forms and different powers and stuff. Episodes 2 and 3, obviously, it does the thing where all the girls treat him like shit because he's the only boy in Mato. Seems like kind of a self-insert deal for the author, or maybe it's just his sense of humor. I don't know. But you can see here that he's lent to this other girl in their unit, and she's giving him the reward now. So he has to look at her to get the reward, otherwise it'll never end. She's just stuck like that. There's no resisting that part of using the ability. And yeah, so you can see it's not full-blown hentai degeneracy, but you know, as far as mainstream anime goes, it's pretty fucking degenerate. I think I just like the world building and stuff. Later on, you get to see more specialized Shuki and other bad guys come in, and you really get a lot of the world building. And if you're just in it for the fan service, you can read the manga. Obviously, with this lending ability, he gets lended to like every girl they meet. You get the whole harem aspect because he's the only guy in that whole dimension. This is definitely not a hard recommend for me. If you're into the ecchi genre or whatever you want to call it, it's a pretty funny one. But it's definitely one you just have to watch it for what it is. It's not going to be life-changing or anything like that. It's just kind of immature, dumb humor, and fan service. And some pretty decent action with a pretty cool world, actually. And the characters actually do have surprisingly good development. And there are some wholesome moments where he's lent to a couple girls that he doesn't think of sexually. So his reward is like head pats. The show might not even get to that anyway, but there you have it. I want to talk about this one because I found it amusing. If you've watched this, let me know what you think. Was it too much for you, or are you enjoying it? I'll try to respond. Like and subscribe and all that shit. See ya. Thanks.